Hi, I'm the Moss Man, and in today's video, we're going to be working on this Buddhist pine bonsai right here. Alright, so this is the 1 year update, but it's actually more like 1.25 year update. Just because of time and stuff. First things first, I'm going to have to remove this geranium cutting that I just kind of plunked in there. And the second thing we're going to do is take these out, kind of manage the roots, make them more consistent, and separate them into two groups, two separate pots, just so those roots are not competing as much, and they have, like for example, these are right up against the edge, so their roots aren't going to grow consistent in every direction, so we're going to try and spread that out a bit more. And the other reason we're dividing them into two groups is so I can test this Mycorrhizae stuff. Now there's a couple reasons I'm testing it. One is because they're supposed to use it with seeds, so I guess they develop together. Not sure, but and the other reason is this is expired, and I was given it for free, so I would like to divide it into two groups so I can tell what it does, if anything. So first things first, we're going to move the scented geranium out of here, and I put it in a little pot somewhere else. It's growing pretty well now. After that, you have to carefully try and remove all of the plants here and separate them out, trying to damage the roots as little as possible. And before I start before I cut the roots into shape and put them in the new container, separate them out, I have a spray bottle on me to try and keep the roots moist at all times, and once I'm done, while I'm waiting, I'm wrapping them up in this paper towel that's underneath them to continue to maintain that moisture while I'm doing other things. Now, as we make up these two new pots, the first one with the yellow tray at the bottom will have the mycorrhizal starter in it. It makes it easier to remember this way, and I should probably explain now why exactly I'm doing this, or why this product exists in the first place. Why is it important to add mycorrhizae? When looking at living things in soil, naturally in soil we have a few different things, lots of things going on. In nature, there's living things everywhere, in every single niche you can think of. So starting with macrofauna, there's the bigger soil organisms. We have stuff like earthworms, and if we get a little bit smaller, we have the mesofauna, things like orobatid mites and springtails. You might have heard of springtails before. We get even smaller into the microfauna and other microorganisms. We have things like nematodes and other bacteria and things like that in the soil. The fungus are classified in this microorganism section. So usually when you think of fungi or fungus mushrooms, you think of what's known as the fruiting body. That's the part that's above the soil that we see. But what we're interested in here is kind of like, I guess you could think of it as the roots of the fungus. These mycorrhizal fungi are interacting with the roots of plants in the soil, with multiple plants at the same time, with each other, with everything. And these mycorrhizae interact with plant roots to form symbiotic relationships. So where the fungus is receiving photosynthetic byproducts, like simple sugars from the plants, and in return can digest and create different important nutrients for the plant and deliver them with water and other nutrients like nitrogen and phosphate. There's other benefits, there's other systems going on, but that's kind of the gist of what's going on. So with this starter, the idea is that you begin that relationship. You grow your own mycorrhizae in the soil, and you begin that relationship between your plant roots and the mycorrhizae. So as I said before, it may do nothing because it's expired, and I kind of just poured a whole lot of it in there. Hopefully it's not negatively affecting the plants. Only time will tell if it makes a difference. And since the pots have been repaired, now this is something every time I do is I take these plants out, I try and remove the roots, the longer growing roots, in such a way that the roots are growing in each direction equally. So I spread them out and kind of cut them down to a similar circular size. Obviously the roots won't be growing in every single direction, but I do my best to distribute them in such a way. And then I just go through and do this for every single set of roots. Alright, I'm back. It's been probably about a month, give or take. Spring is starting, the days are getting longer, the sun's out more, brighter, and so that means a couple of things. The time that has been taken means that these roots have hopefully had enough time to recover. I can tell kind of because there's new growths coming out. You can see these sections are lighter colored than the other leaves, and there's also new little bits poking out. So what I have to do now is I have to take these down a bit before they waste all that energy growing out stuff that I don't want there. That's pretty much it. I'm just cutting them down to a node somewhere, and that's kind of it. I didn't want to do. You don't want to do this at the same time that you cut the roots, or I mean you can, but I prefer not to, especially with these smaller, kind of newer plants, because you're just taking on the risks of both of those processes at the same time, and so I prefer to spread out a little bit, take down the roots, let them recover, take down the rest of the plant, and then wait until the next year basically, and then it's time to take the roots down again and repeat. And also, if you're wondering why it's taking me so long, because I probably could have done this a couple weeks ago, it's because I started quilting, so, new hobby. It's probably why it's going to take me at least a couple weeks before I start editing this video. Watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and this will be in a playlist of all the bonsai videos so far. It's only the first year, so I've only have a couple videos out, but this will continue to grow, and hopefully you'll join me on monitoring and adjusting the growth of these over the course of years to come. I have no idea what my next video is going to be at the moment, but with spring coming and everything's starting to kick back into action, hopefully I will have something to work with. So, see you then.